Did you know that according to the U.S. Small Business Administration, nearly 50% of small business within 5 years? Not because there wasn't a good idea or that the business person was not smart, but because the operational systems and management couldn't keep up. Welcome to the Wickedly Branded podcast. I'm your host, Beverly Cornell. I'm the founder and fairy godmother here at Wickedly Branded. And today's guest is someone who quite literally makes sense. Kendall T Braxton is the founder of Braxton Management, a Detroit-based operations and administration consultancy with a really bold mission is to bring clarity, structure, and sustainability to businesses and associations that serves as pillars in the communities. Kendall, I'm super excited to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
We have a little bit in common. That's how we connected on LinkedIn. We are both from the Detroit area. We both got our degrees at Wayne State University. And I am just excited to talk to a Midwestern gal today. It was fun. You've done a few things. You actually started a business when you were in college, which is awesome. I never would have thought to do that. So tell me how the business kind of started, the spark of your business, how you got here, what the path has been like for you.
I guess I've always known that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. As a kid, there are inside jokes in my family because of an entrepreneurial spirit. So how that looks has evolved over the years, of course. I was an undergrad for business. I was working a job that had terrible management. I was the youngest who worked at front desk. I covered for everybody. I was overworked. I was, we'll say, discriminated against a little bit because of my age. There were some people upset that their kids couldn't work there. And so I was harassed to come into work when I wasn't feeling well. It was dangerous for me to go to work because I was dizzy. And so I'm like, I need this job. I commute from Detroit to Ypsilanti. I need this little check. And so I went in and that was the last day I went in. And a criminal defense attorney, I used to babysit his kids in the summer. He reached out to me asking if I was still looking for work. And on this particular day, I'm like, I sure am. I met with him and his legal partner. And before we know it, he was my first client. And I provided legal secretarial services for a criminal defense attorney. And then I quit over voicemail. And I typically would do that. I was raised to be very professional. And I was going through some health challenges. And it was just total disregard for my safety. And that day, I decided I never want to be an employer who makes people hate coming to work. That was essentially how Braxton Management was born. And technically, Braxton Management was my second business that I had started in undergrad. But it started with a text from a client and next thing wanting to do event planning. I realized I need all of those skills to do administration and operations management. And we have since grown and worked with various industries.
Talk a little bit about how early stage entrepreneurship. So I feel everyone romanticizes starting a business, especially the early years are far harder than people realize. Talk about how those early years were for you as you grew.
So for Braxton Management, it was different because I almost started backwards because my client fell in my lap. Yeah. So it wasn't, I knew I was going to go into business. I had a different business, YNF, and we did community events and apparel. So much different that had a lot more cost associated with it. Whereas with consulting or being the one to do the work, there's no investment in what is the big picture going to be at first. It was a lot, but the pressure really came on when I graduated. Because now I'm not in school anymore. This is really business. I need more clients. I had another contract before I graduated that I actually left. You have to make a decision. Let me do the work now so I can identify what it is that I want to do, that I'm truly good at, what I'm aspiring to do, and the kind of clients I need to go after. For years prior to me hiring a W-2 employee, I would always preface that with my client. I know you're connecting with me right now, but eventually there may be another person assigned to you, just making it known I have a bigger vision.
I have a couple legacy clients I've had for 15 years, Kendall.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing because people don't keep a marketing company for 15 years. But I knew there was going to come a moment where we'd have to part ways. We set them up for success, essentially, is what's happened. We've created templates and systems and structures for them, and that now they're able to be more independent. Let's take the next quarter and transition everything in a really nice way so that they're set up for success. Even though it feels a little hard with those cornerstone clients that you have, it's important that you do understand. I think that maybe in the long term, this isn't the right fit because we both have grown as business owners and my client has grown as well. And they have different needs now. And I am building a different business now. So it's totally understandable. And even when you've been in business for 15 years, it still happens. You get a client you love, and then this happens. It still happens. It's just in different ways. What do people come to you for? Tell me about the people you work with and how you help them with the structure and systems.
Probably over 90% of my clients over the past 10 years have come from word of mouth or people that I've known and they're like, oh, plug and play. Sometimes it's been great and it's led to relationships for years. And sometimes it just wasn't a great fit or it wasn't in their budget. A lot of people come to me when they don't know what to do. So they cannot always articulate what it is that they need. Over the years, a part of my system is heavy on listening. When people come to me, I don't speak heavily in that initial conversation on what I can do for them. I want to know what it is that you do, where are some gaps, where do you find the least joy, especially for my more creative clients or my clients who have clinical practices. A lot of times that operational, that administrative piece, that's where it sparks the least joy for them. I think when people hear systems, they automatically think of tools for their tech stack. And that's great. I think those should be implemented wisely. But if you don't know why you're using them, now you're wasting resources. I also find that for clients, where are we missing? I go down to the very foundational basics. I think as humans, we overcomplicate things sometimes. Usually they don't know. So I find out what's the process and then create one for when they don't know, create one that works for them.
I feel like that a lot happens with marketing too, and exactly the kind of the same thing. This is what I love talking to people in operations and human resources and even the money side of things, because I feel it all comes back to that foundation. If you don't have the strong foundation, it creates what I call the tornado of overwhelm, because you're like, I need that other tool. I need that other tactic. Before you know it, you have 100 things and you're not really doing anything well. When you focus like that, when you get structure and systems like that into place, it relieves decision fatigue. It relieves so much pressure from the business owner in ways you didn't even know were possible. Every time I've done something, I actually have a whole course called the Marketing Binder Bootcamp, which is about organizing your marketing.
I love that for you. And I think for me, systems came a little bit later. After so long, you get used to doing everything. It's second nature. And for so long, it was just me who had to do it because it wasn't these large companies that were my clients. Right. It was my smaller business. So I just knew it. But as time went on, I said, even though I have it up here, I need to write it down and make it plain. Before I hired, I made sure I said, we need to have policy and procedure. She works remote. I already have policy and procedure for when we have an office. So you know what to do when you're coming into this space, because now I know even more so, it's not going to be me doing this all the time. So someone else has to do it. Even for certain things for clients, making videos. So the staff, I think knowing the team that I'm working for is very important as well for their learning. Some people can just read it and go for it. They're good. Yep. You tell them once, they got it. They might take a couple notes. That's it. But there are some of those visual audio learners who need the video. My employee is a more visual learner. So that means I am making videos for different things that she may need to aid what's written down. So it looks different kind of for every client, so to speak, because we tailor our services.
It's really hard sometimes for business owners to make time for marketing, and oftentimes it gets pushed to the side. And I'm assuming that operations is the same way. I'll just do it next week, or I'll just do that thing next month, or I don't have time to do that thing because I'm doing the thing. There's so much that can happen to get in the way of systems. But if you want to scale, if you want to grow, if you want to clone yourself, you absolutely need structure and systems for yourself and for the people you work with to be successful. Well, you'll be that statistic, that 50% in 5 years who do not make it, right? I'm sure you've seen it time and again where people just don't make it because they didn't do that work in many ways.
Yeah. And I try to explain to people, especially when I just facilitated a cohort a few months ago for creative entrepreneurs. And I was explaining that not every entrepreneur is a business owner, and that's okay. That doesn't make you less than. I said, but if you're trying to build this into a business, it has to be about more than just you, even though it's just you right now. Whatever you do, there has to be some structure. You have to know what you're doing because the unexpected can happen. You're going to have great difficulty getting that back on track. Trying to explain that and knowing what is it that their goal is that helps me maintain their operations or streamline however that may look, knowing what their goal is. And first and foremost, is this being built into a business? Or is this just a side hustle?
A freelance job.
Something that you want to do, but what is it that we're doing? Because that's going to tell me what I need to help you.
Hey, I know you're listening today because you're ready to take your business and your brand to the next level. But if you're being honest with yourself, maybe even feeling a little bit lost, but you've got this big vision and you know that you're meant to make a bigger impact. But sometimes it's so hard to know where to start and which direction to take. Does that sound familiar? You're not alone. So many purpose-driven entrepreneurs feel the exact same way as you. That's why I created the Clarity Quiz, a simple tool that helps you get to the heart of what's holding you back and shows you where you need to focus next. No more second guessing, no more spinning the wheels, just clear, actionable insights that give you the confidence to move forward, that next best step. Taking the quiz will give you a deeper understanding of your brand's true potential and what's standing in your way. And the best part, it only takes like 3 minutes, but the results, they could transform the way you approach your business and brand forever. So if you're ready to stop feeling overwhelmed and you want to start showing up with purpose and clarity, go to wickedlybranded.com and take the quiz now. Yeah, what are the goals and the vision? I love that. It's such a good reframe in many ways. I think that's where it was for me too. I was just freelancing, had a couple clients. And then when I started to get referrals and grow, I was like, crap, I need to figure this out. As you grow, as your vision grows, as the business evolves, your structures and systems always need a little bit of love. Always.
Yeah, they do. And for those, because there are some clients where you just need to come in, set up systems for them and maybe do maintenance. But then there are other clients where they need someone to really do that management piece, not just the consultancy. And so with them, that's always interesting because it's only as successful and they relinquish the control of the operation because they want to be, sometimes they're like, I just want to hand it off. But when they hold the reins a little bit tighter, that will prohibit the growth. They are not doing the work. And I'm sure you get that in marketing as well. They're like, I just want someone else to do it. But no, I still need the control. And we want to make it clear that we want you to be able to live out your mission. We want you to be able to do that. We're just here to help you execute that. But without the proper free rein with respect to the mission and with respect to the values of how our clients do things, we're not able to do the work that we do, including that. Let's make sure everybody is still properly trained because I even just got a newsletter from a bigger operations firm. People aren't regularly training and wondering why things aren't going well. We can't just train you once and think it's
without the FEs, without the structure and system, I would not be here. I would not be able to. And what's great is that I have been able to remove some of the things that drain me and do more of the things that drive me, do the things that I really love. Talk to you today, Kendall. Or like after this, I'm going to the chamber in Fayetteville and I'm giving a talk on distractions in business and why it doesn't help you with your marketing. So I get to do these things because I have people that are part of the structure and system. So for people who are listening to my listeners, I want you to think about this. What are some things that drain you and how can you create a system or structure around those things so that you either can remove it, delegate it, automate it, whatever it looks like. And if you need help, Kendall's perfect for you to help you with this because he lives in systems and structures every single day. You don't have to do it alone. There's people who do this every day and can give you some really good structure systems, at least to get you started even. And then you can develop it out further as you grow. I am a systems girl. I will always be a cheerleader for the systems, Kendall. That is awesome. I want to change the conversation to marketing because I am a marketing nerd. And I know your employee that you do have does some of your marketing for you, which is amazing. But I kind of want to talk about, I always ask everybody, I have a magic wand. And for my listeners who are new, it really looks almost like Glenda from Wicked. The name of the company is Wickedly Branded. So it all flows from that story, that center. But with my wand, I always ask everybody, is there something that you're struggling with today in marketing that you wish I could wave my wand and make it all better for you? And if so, maybe we could talk a little bit about today and I can help you with the next step related to it. So is there something that you're struggling with today related to marketing?
I love that. I would say I am one of those people who I have marketing time on my schedule. And sometimes that's the first thing to get pushed if something else comes up. And then I have to constantly catch up or hold myself accountable.
Yeah.
I would say marketing has never fully been I went to school for business. Yes, I've had to take some marketing classes, all of that. It's more than just the pretty stuff that we see, but it's never been like my main strong suit. I've had to do certain things for clients, which I do it better for clients than I do myself, if I'm honest.
Welcome to Entrepreneur.
But I would probably say finding a good marketing mix, specifically even for Braxton Management. Most people just think, oh, just make sure your social media or this and that. But a lot of times the clients for Braxton Management, they're online, but they're not looking for operation on social media. Their visibility. So I still have to be accountable for being visible, but it's also all of the other aspects. I think social media has taken over to where a lot of people think that's the only marketing, but that's just the latest stronghold. So I would say probably finding the right mix in how to properly market Braxton Management.
I feel like if you're selling to other businesses, like business entrepreneurs, like owners, small business owners, for example, then LinkedIn is the place you need to be absolutely 100%. And you also, I believe, need to be writing and talking about the things that you do every day for clients and how you're different and what makes you different and how even things like, I think, go a little bit controversial and like the things you hate about your industry and why you do things differently. And so like the story you told about how you wanted to be a different leader than you had been led initially and in that job, and talking about in ways in which you show up differently and why that shows so much more about what you do. But I always say this when it comes to the marketing mix: you want to be where the people are, like Little Mermaid. You want to be where the people are, and you want to be really specific about how you connect with those people. So you look for your target audience and you connect with them directly, right? And create something of value for them. You want to be very specific about how you connect with and who you connect with. So for me, I don't want to say your niche per se, because I don't really believe in a niche. I'm controversial. I believe in narrative resonance. People who resonate with your story, resonate with the work that you do, resonate with your values, how you show up, who you are. This podcast for me is a place for me to find people who I think will have narrative resonance, meaning people who were like me 10 years ago, who I believe can benefit from the systems, the structures, and marketing I put in place. So I interview people on this podcast who are business owners, that are women business owners, mostly solopreneurs, who are exactly where I was 10 years ago and really struggling with that idea of like, how do I show up and be more visible in a way that's really aligned with who I am? So I am strategic about the connections I make, because in the idea of the podcast, and I say this a lot for my clients, if you want access to people, start a podcast. People love to be invited to be on a podcast to talk about themselves. And so this is one tool. I'm not saying everybody has to do this, but what it has afforded me is a way to say, hey, I find you very interesting and I would love to talk and learn more about you. And even if you don't need my services, you probably know people who need my services. So it allows me to build trust, trust in a way that isn't swarmy or salesy or like icky, because I don't like that at all. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. It allows me to really create a genuine connection, which is genuinely me.
Yeah.
So that feels authentic to me. So if you love to write, then you should be an avid blogger. If you love to talk, then you should be on a podcast or doing video. Like whatever your forte is, your strength, you need to find that. And then whatever that is, do the thing that you love to do more than anything else on the channel where most of the people that you're serving are, and then repurpose the crap out of it. Meaning, if you are a writer and you write a blog, then from the blog, ask AI to make it a newsletter. Ask AI to make it 5 social posts. So you have one piece of content you poured everything into, your heart and soul and every single brain cell into, that is the masterpiece. That is the masterpiece of your work. And then use AI and tools like that can help you slice it and dice it into different ways. Or you do a video that's really good because you're like the talker and that's what you do. Then you take the transcript and ask AI to make it a blog and then repurpose it from there. So spend the time on one solid thought leadership piece a month even and make it amazing. And then use tools like AI to be able to repurpose in the places where you want to show up elsewhere. So you're not like reinventing the wheel every time. And I say, like when I work with our clients, during the Brand Spark experience that we have where we spend 90 minutes to 2 hours and we really ask a mountain of questions. It's that foundational, it's the listening, it's the understanding where they want to go, where they've been, the challenges they had. When we deliver the Brand Magic Blueprint at the end of that, we talk about their pillars, like the pillars of content that they're going to only focus on. And there's things underneath the pillars, but it organizes the thoughts in a way so you always know to stay within like the thing you want to be known for instead of going off on a tangent. And now that, like, for example, I have pillars, like last night, you use the word clarity and do not take this as offense, okay, in any way, shape, or form. That I think clarity is overused on social media right now. I see it everywhere. Yeah. Everyone's all about clarity. I'm over the word clarity. Yeah. And so my word is coherence is the word I've decided to use. And I talk about how clarity seems simple, but it's not simple. It's actually one of the most complicated things you can do. And it's not a quick fix. It is far more in depth than that. And that's why I think coherence is much better because it's like this deeper understanding of the truth for people. Now that I know like my pillars, one of my pillars is awaken. It's the idea of how to bring your brand magic to life. It's this idea of that like clarity is part of that. Then talking about that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So if you stay within your pillars, like 4 to 6 different pillars for the things you want to be known for. So when someone says, oh, I need help. My marketing feels all over the place. And I feel like I'm just doing it to do it. And there's no like real rhyme or reason. Oh, you need to talk to Beverly because she's going to help you get a system. She's going to help you find the foundation. Because now, based on the podcast, based on the newsletter you receive, that's where my benefit is. And if you don't do a good enough job of that, of like consistently, like you have to repeat yourself a lot on social media and in your marketing. And I tease, but it's like when you are bored with your marketing is when it's actually starting to work.
And I can see that this has been like helpful in confirming I'm on the way because I tell my team all the time, I'm like, I got to go where our clients are. Like and as we refine what our clients look like, what our avatars are, because I'm refining some things now after ending a multi-year contract, like we're still accept them, but this is no longer an avatar. So slowly positioning that, even though still staying true to our mission, our values, everything. I had someone really create after speaking to her. Wasn't a 90-minute. She calls them branding therapy sessions.
Therapy.
And then we've gone through that when we really went over in detail what the brand values are and also the pillars for social media. I'm on LinkedIn. I do blog. We have a blog on the website. We do articles on LinkedIn. And for when I say social media, I know that LinkedIn it like stands alone for me because I know that is where business and professionals are. But I know I can't stop there. Is more so in that marketing mix. My headphones are over me. But as far as the other social media, because people still look for present elsewhere.
Absolutely.
So we do the videos there. So the video versions of the blog.
Perfect.
Go on there. This is helpful because it's reassuring. I guess I could implement some more of breaking that down for the post or just the interaction. The only thing I haven't that you've suggested done or started is probably a podcast, which people have told me to do. But outside of Braxton Management, maybe in relation to my book and some other things, people have mentioned podcasts. So we'll see.
You don't have to do a podcast. I love talking to people and I am more of an introvert. So I love these one-on-one intimate conversations versus going to a big crowd of people. That's a little more uncomfortable for me. So this feels more comfortable for me. Some people are like, I want to go do the thing like out in the world, and that's fine. And I'm going to go do the thing on the road later today. But there are tools like we use Metricool. So if you post on LinkedIn, it can just reshare some of that stuff on other channels for you so that you have a presence. But I say write for the channel that you want to be known on and then slice and dice everything else for the other channels. So I am on everything, but my I really just work LinkedIn. I'm on there 15 minutes, 20 minutes every single day at minimum. I'm commenting, I'm engaging, I'm showing up every day there because I feel like that is the best use of my time. Plus, I will say this. I really like LinkedIn because a lot of the politics stuff is not there. And
Yeah.
I am struggling with the amount of news and things that are on the other social sites. So for my own sanity, at least for the next 3 years, I want to be on LinkedIn and other places. So I feel like you have to decide which one fits you the most and where you feel the most comfortable and the way that you show up. So even on my own personal Facebook, sometimes, Kendall, I'll share professional things,
Oh, yeah.
but I'm very judicious about how I do that. But my strongest suggestion is you start with your content pillars, which is great. And you just dive as deep as you can in that content space with the format you love. So blogging or whatever the format is, or the videos, and then you slice it and dice it in all the different ways. And then the mix is the mix. So the numbers don't lie, Kendall. Have you done an audit? Have you gone over the last year to 2025, looked at your best performing posts on each individual tool? Maybe the top 10. What are those numbers? And if LinkedIn has the best numbers, that is where you need to go all in, right? But in the formats of those particular posts, what did really well, and do more of that, because you can repurpose those posts too.
Yeah.
Use the same photos, maybe tweak the hook. Like, I'm all about reusing, repurposing, remixing. Don't make yourself crazy doing things over and over again like a hamster wheel. Do what works. Any questions?
No, not right now. I think I can add to our current plan and just go as we find confirmation of what works and what doesn't. No, always yes, like with anything else.
Like with anything else, the algorithms change and all kinds of things, but that's where the adjustment comes in But if you're on a tool every day, you will learn the algorithm really well, and you'll be able to see what does work. It becomes very apparent when you're anything, the 10,000 hour thing, like when you become an expert in. So the more you do it, the more you, and now I'm actually more specific. I was an early adopter of social media. So I was on LinkedIn. I got to know, so it goes 18 years this year or something like that. And I was giving like classes at an Automation Alley. Have you heard of Automation Alley?
No.
It's in Oakland County. I was giving like how-tos on LinkedIn back in the day when no one knew how to use LinkedIn. And so I've always been an early adopter, but I actually love LinkedIn far more now than I did even then.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's just a really good tool for a personal brand for anyone, whether you own a business or not. You need to have a very strong brand there to be hired, to be networked with, to be like, there's just so much value in LinkedIn. I go on and on about it. I'm a total LinkedIn nerd, but I think you're on the right track, Kendall. Just maybe go a little harder in a couple places, and it can make a big difference for you. So I love that you're doing the things and following the advice of the brand therapist, because a lot of times people hear those things, but they don't always do it. But like you said, sometimes it gets pushed off. It's the first thing that gets pushed off. So I'm also guilty of that, and I'm a working it. So that's everything. Okay. So the last question I have of the interview is, what does it mean to you to be wickedly branded? How do you personally show up as wickedly branded in your life or work? And what tips would you give listeners who want to be more wickedly branded?
What is it to be wickedly branded? Based off of how our interaction, what you show it to be, I think it is showing up repeatedly, relentlessly as yourself, however that looks, and still getting the job done. I know we talked about what is considered professional and what's not, and there's so much stigma. So for me, it is to be unapologetically me, even if that is not in someone's thought. For me, that is doing more than one thing. I believe very deeply that whether you do one thing or 100 things, I know that's hyperbolic, but one thing or 100 things, whatever your gifting is, do it all. Now, that doesn't mean you can do it all in one day, do it all at the same time all the time, but
seasons that you do.
there are seasons, and some days look different. Some days will look different, but whatever your gifting is, don't let someone tell you not to. It's okay to be a Renaissance woman, and not apologize for it. That doesn't mean to make other people feel bad. If you're doing that intentionally, that's not wickedly branded. That's just wicked in the way.
Yeah. But some people are just not going to be for you, and that's okay. Right? Like, actually,
Exactly.
I want to know that sooner than later. So I want to position myself to where I almost repel people who are not my jam.
Exactly. I love that. Yes, because not everybody is my jam, and I'm okay with
I am okay with that.
or whether that's business or personal. So if I had to encourage someone, encourage your listeners, hey, y'all, then I would say be who you are. And I know that some people say you are you, and they don't always understand that existential kind of question. I am more than I am management professional. I'm more than an author. I'm more than fill in the blank. And so we have to know who we are at our core. I'm a loving person. I believe in serving. Every single thing I do involves serving, whether I am operating as a personal chef, whether I am the CEO of Braxton Management, whether I am out in the community. Everything I do involves serving. And I know that. So that means when I am working and I'm building my business or I'm doing other things, I know that this has to relate to that in some way.
Absolutely.
Be you unapologetically and figure out who that is. And if you don't like it, figure it out.
I love that so much. This idea of being perfectly in alignment with yourself and showing up fully as yourself. The thing that I think has released for me over the last couple of years as I've shown up more authentically as myself is I share a lot of my life now with people. I was a little more private, and I definitely wanted the work to speak for itself as opposed to me being visible and in front of the brand. The very thing I teach my clients not to do. I don't want to do that. Cobbler's kids have no shoes. And the thing that I have found revelatory is that I see the work that I do in everyday stuff. So I have a child. I have a 10-year-old. And we went to Universal Studios last April. And it was crowded. It was spring break, the crowdedest ever is at Universal Studios, those places. And he grabs his wand and he does this spell and says it out loud with so much confidence. And everyone around him is thinking, oh, how cute he is. Everyone's looking and whatever. And in that moment, he really believed he had magic. Like, genuinely believed in every ounce of his being that he had magic. And I wrote a blog post about it because it just struck me so strongly that where did we lose the confidence of a 9-year-old? What has society done to us to quiet our magic? And he loves Black Panther. And he has 3 Black Panther masks, and he has this, like, the claw that comes out that's like Black Panther. And yesterday, it was snow day, he's running around like Black Panther, and he's like running around my house like Black Panther, okay? And he fully believed it was like defeating the bad guys that were coming at him. He fully believed it. And I guess that's the thing is when you fully are who you are, it just comes, it like literally exudes from you, and it magnetizes the people who need to be in your orbit. It magnetizes the people who need to work with you. So I really do want to encourage you to talk about how serving sits in your life and how it relates to what you do here. So one of the things that I'm a student minister, and I talk sometimes about, not my husband is in the military. My mom was a nurse. My dad was a teacher. Serving is just part of like my DNA. Like I can't not do it that way. So like I will bring in some of those examples into my work because I want people to see the essence of who I am and those examples. And this is how I show up in the world. So yes, go all in, talk about those things. You're a very rich woman who has so much story to share and so much of yourself to give to help make an impact in the world that we have. So I love that alignment, that energy, that magic is so incredibly important for being wickedly branded, for sure. That's beautiful. Okay, so where can people find you? Where do you hang out the most on social? Tell people how they can connect with you, Kendall.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. Kendall T Braxton is my name. You can find me that way. You can find Braxton Management on LinkedIn. You can go to braxtonmanagement.com just to see what we do, our full brand value. We're also found on Instagram, braxton.management, and also on Facebook, Braxton Management LLC, I believe. So yeah, thank you, Beverly. This has been awesome. And I look forward to connecting you. So if you have found out what I do from this, please let me know that we met through Wickedly Branded. I would love to know.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kendall. I really enjoyed our time together, and getting to know you a little bit more and understanding, actually nerding out about systems because I love systems. I really hope for our listeners today that this may be a little bit of a fire on you and how to scale and to grow and to really give some love to your operations, because these new ideas and the inspiration to take some action can really change your entire trajectory of your business. I know one thing. I know absolutely one thing, and that is that your message matters, your work matters, and the world needs to hear what you have to say. And if you grow, you can affect more people. So I think that marketing isn't just about visibility. It's about the impact that you make, and it's about connecting with the right people in a way that feels really true to you. So I want you to keep showing up, keep sharing your brilliance, and keep making magic in the world. And if you ever feel stuck, know that you don't have to do it alone. You can reach out to Kendall. You can reach out to ourselves. We are here to help turn your spark into a wildfire. Until next time, dare to be wickedly branded. Wow, what an incredible conversation we just had. I hope that this episode lit a little bit of a fire under you to finally bring your brand to life in a way that feels true to you. Remember, clarity is the spark, but activation is that fire and flame that keeps your message and your visuals and your strategy aligned, and the confidence that follows. So does that lovely thing called momentum that you've been waiting for. So if today's episode, if you loved it, make sure you are subscribed to the Wickedly Branded Marketing Podcast so you never miss an insight or a conversation. Until next time, dare to be wickedly branded.